experienced the whiteout from the sidelines before. What do you anticipate it's going to be like when you're actually out there running the offense?
I'm expecting something to be pretty exciting. I mean, I know the fans, every time we got a whiteout, they come. They bring everything they got, and they give us so much energy. And the atmosphere just on the sidelines, from what I remember, is incredible. So I'm excited to see what it's like on the field for the first time.
How important is that energy in a game like this, do you think?
It's huge for us. Anytime we can come into Beaver Stadium and feel that energy from the crowd, they give us such a home field advantage. And so anytime we can come in there and have that energy and feed off of that, and the more we can feel the energy and continue to build off of that, it just becomes a better thing for us, but also becomes harder and harder on our opponent.
Trace, what are some of the things you've seen from Ohio State's defense when you've watched them on film?
They're really athletic, they're physical, and they force you to make plays. They don't really beat themselves. So we're going to have to be really good with what we do schematically and our reads, and then we're going to have to make some plays on them.
Do you guys feel like you almost have to play a perfect game when you have a team like that doesn't really make a whole lot of mistakes?
Yeah, a team like that, I mean, we've been talking, the margin of error when you play a team like this is so small. You got to be real almost perfect on your details. So yeah, there's almost got to be kind of that sense of we need things to be as perfect as we can make them to give ourselves the best shot.
How much do you take out of the Michigan game in that regard? I know the defenses aren't necessarily similar, but not having that margin of error, because the errors did hurt you in that game.
No, yeah, that's somewhere the margin of error showed up, where some mistakes we might have been able to make in previous games going into Michigan. We made some of the similar mistakes, and we saw how much it could hurt us against a team of that caliber. So that's something that we were able to learn from, and we saw it, experienced it once before, and we've been working on practice, really minimizing that margin of error for us.
How do you balance that with, as you might say, you have to play a perfect game versus not getting over concerned with that and kind of playing loose and free? And how much of that is on, the lead of the quarterback,
Yeah.
the lead of the defense?
No, yeah, that's a big part of it, is knowing that margin of error is so small, so you want to be perfect. But if you're stressing to be perfect, then things are just going to go wrong. You're going to miss things that you shouldn't be missing. So it's a happy medium between, really the margin of error is going to come from studying during the week, getting in, watching as much film as you can, studying the game plan. So then by the time you get out on the field, you're just reacting. You know what's going on.
How much did the bye week help with that extra time to prepare?
I think it helped a lot. We were able to get in, watch a couple different games from weeks before, and be able to get a really good sense of them last week on our own before we really got in and started getting into the real bulk of our game plan this week. So having a good sense of what they do just from watching film on our own, getting groups of guys together, I think was big for us.
You get to take some time off.
Sorry?
What did you take away from the Indiana tape?
The Indiana tape, I mean, Indiana was able to move the ball, kind of do some things, get them out of some things, make them a little bit uncomfortable. And I think we're kind of seeing that, and we're going to utilize what they did a little bit and kind of go off of that.
For the bye week, did you get to take any time off, or were you really spending most of it focused on LSU?
I mean, I took a little bit of time off as far as the weekend, because I would kind of get out of here and go home. But while I was here during the week, I was pretty much focusing on watching as much tape as I can, trying to catch up on some schoolwork and stuff like that.
Is it important to get that time away, maybe to I don't know, take a break? Or
Yeah, I think it was good. A lot of guys were able to go home, get out here, kind of recharge your batteries. I mean, I know me personally, I just sat on my couch all day Saturday, watch football. So I hadn't done that in a while. So it was definitely nice. Just kind of go home, see family, and relax.
What games did you watch?
I watched the Clemson-NC State one. Flip between a couple different ones at 3:30, the Alabama-Tennessee, and Wake Forest-Florida State, and then the Ohio State at night.
Watch that as a fan, that game, or do you, not necessarily a fan, but as a normal person, are you analyzing things as
a little bit of both. With what Wisconsin does, I know it's pretty much different from everything that we do. There's a couple similarities as far as formationally that you can maybe pick up, but for the most part, what they do is completely different from us. So.
Trace, what would hitting a couple deep passes early Saturday do to kind of set the tone and kind of loosen up their defense a little bit?
I think that would be huge for us, not only in loosening them up maybe a little bit, but also getting the crowd into it. You hit a couple big plays, you start to get energy from the crowd. The crowd starts feeling it. So I think that would be huge for us. If we're able to make a couple big plays early, crease them in the run game, or hit some deep passes, kind of get some explosive plays early on, and get a fast start would be huge for us.
Chris, how would you say you improve on your hockey so far this season, and talking to Saquon about being the ball Tyler to handle yourself, improving it?
I think we've just done a really good job of working on our mesh points so we can ride them down as far as we can, and maybe be able to try and bait a defensive end to diving in towards him or something like that. That's been the biggest thing for us, and now we're both really comfortable with those mesh points, and we're able to ride it down and able to do a couple more things now this far in the year.
How important is that to have that in your arsenal against a team like Ohio State?
I think that's huge. Having not only a guy like Saquon where you can, teams are always going to key on him. So being able to kind of have that and maybe get him to dive down once or twice and, open things up on the outside for a quarterback to run or, be able to have RPO or receiver open downfield, I think would be huge for us.
Was there a time when that kind of clicked? I mean, because early in the season it looked like you were having some issues figuring out. Was there a game or a play or something where everything just kind of came together?
I don't know if there was a game or a play, just kind of through the more repetitions that we took of it in practice and seeing how it was in the first couple of games, then we had a really good sense of what it would be like.
Saquon obviously had a big game last year against Ohio State, but totally different offense for you guys now. Do you guys touch that film at all? Do you look at it at all? Or kind of figure it out?
We really haven't looked at it that much. We've more been studying what they've done this year and giving as much as we can based off of that.
What changes for you when you have different tackles? Anything?
I mean, it's just a little bit knowing that you got to step up in the pocket, kind of more things like that. And but as far as we're confident in the next guy stepping in. And we've always had that next man in mentality. So we're confident in the next guy stepping up, and they're going to be able to come in and do their job and have success.
Trace, you and JT Barrett are part of this next generation of quarterbacks who can do more than just stand in the pocket and throw. That being said, what do you think are the qualities in the quarterback that make a franchise quarterback, for lack of a better term?
The biggest part of, I guess, for the franchise quarterback part would be the leadership. Being able to get guys going and being able to, weather the storms that happen in a game or through practice and things like that. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, you see that with guys like Tom Brady, and stuff, and Peyton Manning. Those were guys that they were leaders on their team. They were able to, conduct guys, get guys going to where they needed to be, and get guys able to do their job, and they were able to make the players around them better. So I think that's the biggest part of the franchise quarterback aspect would be the leadership.
In practice the last few days, have you gone up against Brandon Bell and Jason Benda at all? And if so, how do they look?
We really haven't gone up against them too much. Doing mostly running against scout teams, do a couple team periods, but I mean, talking to them, they feel good. They're excited, and we'll see what they'll be able to feel like come Saturday. But I mean, I know both of them, they're itching, they want to get out there, but it's going to be it's up to the doctors to kind of if they're going to be ready or not.
A lot of your teammates had the whiteout game as their official visit. Obviously, your situation was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you hear about the whiteout before getting here, and how did that kind of compare to experiencing it last year?
I just heard it was like nothing you've ever seen before when you're there in person. And it pretty much exceeded my expectation for what it was going to be like. The first one I experienced was when we played Ohio State here 2 years ago. We went into double overtime, and I was just on the sidelines and just a young 18-year-old freshman, just wide-eyed, just like, this is, like, I had chills just standing on the sidelines. So, I mean, it's definitely an incredible environment. Looking forward to being the best one that we've had since I've been here. I know we all want the fans to come in strong force and try and give us as much of a home field advantage as we can get.
How much has the intensity level in practice gone up this week because it's Ohio State on Saturday?
There has been a little bit more of an intensity, a rise of intensity out of guys, knowing that it is Ohio State. I mean, this is the number 2 team in the country, and you got to approach it a little bit differently if you want to come in and beat a team like that. So raising the intensity, raising the energy, and really raising our focus and attention to detail in meetings, and also once we get out on the field has definitely been one thing that we've been stepping up this week.